Welcome back to Cover's Bracket Breakdown. We are finally at the national championship game, Houston and Florida. We're going to get into everything. And of course, this is all brought to you by Bet365. I'm Jason Logan. He's Douglas Farmer. That's Rohit Pannaiya. A mixed bag. I'll say I had a bad Final Four. Some of you guys had a much nicer Final Four than I did. But let's get into this one here. Let's first talk spread. Let's talk money line because they're almost one and the same right now. 365 at Florida. -1 money line, UF -115, Houston -105. Douglas, it just has to continue. You can't pull it now. It needs to keep going.
You know, J-Lo, I didn't warn you I was going to do this. We all work for Covers. This is on the Covers YouTube channel. We're all wearing Covers gear. You know what? To heck with this nonsense. Let's just embrace the chaos and acknowledge it's time to bring home Houston. Houston neg 105 is my absolute best bet here. The Cougars should not be underdogs. This line is too high, even though it's nearly a pick'em. I said I could moneyline rollover Houston at plus 780 before the tournament. In the end, the moneyline rollover is paying out at plus 1835. That's not the only reason I'm betting it. The quick turnaround is costing Florida. It only happened once in the regular season. They beat up on Wichita State. Congratulations. This is not Fred VanVleet's Wichita State. They barely got by UConn. UConn could not hit a 3 late to save its life. The second game last weekend barely got by Texas Tech. Texas Tech could not hit a free throw late to save its life. Now facing the best three-point shooting team in the country, one that hit some massively clutch free throws on Saturday night, I'm doubting Florida in the second half of this pseudo back-to-back. Is it scouting or fitness? I don't know. Either way, it's a Houston advantage. Scouting this defense takes time, and even then, I'm not sure anyone actually can scout the Cougars' defense. I've preached about that plenty. The entire Houston roster can run a 5:45 or faster mile. That might not sound great, but think about it. None of you can. J-Lo, I know you can't. I can't. Ro, you might be able to. Cedric Lath is 6'9", 260. He doesn't play much. He's on the Houston bench. Runs a 5:45 mile. The 2-day turnaround won't wear this team out. It has bothered Florida twice this tournament. Florida lives on threes more than I realized. Houston will force those shots, and maybe Florida becomes scorching hot. But otherwise, I see no way Florida can penetrate this defense and put up enough points. Houston's going to force those bad looks from deep. I'm going to take the neg 105 and cash everything I've been saying all tournament long.
Bringing it home. All right, Rohit Pannaiya, you have a different spin on this spread. I mean, we're looking at a 1-point spread. A lot of the game models call for a pretty tight game as well, too. How are you betting this contest?
Yeah, I mean, my lean is with Houston as well. I thought this game would be a pick'em, maybe Houston -1. So you're getting a couple of points of value, grabbing them on the money line. But my favorite play is the winning margin between 1 to 5 points. So that's either team to win by 5 points or less. That's plus 170 over at Bet365. So I like that plus money there. You look at every projection out there. They're all projecting a close game. Ken Pom has Houston winning by a point. Haslametrics has less than 1.5 points separating the two teams. And then you look at the games that these guys have played. Douglas touched on that with, Florida, having these really close games against Texas Tech and UConn. Also had a really close game against Auburn. Ended up winning by 6, but it was closer than that. And then you look at Houston. They had that blowout against Tennessee, but 3 of their last 4 wins also within 5 points. We know how close that Duke and Purdue games were, but they, even the Zags managed to close things to within 5 points at the end of that game. So I think everything's saying this is going to be a relatively close game within a couple of possessions at the end. And I love being able to get plus 170 at that.
All right. Yeah. Houston tends to play these tight ones. The total, 141.5 at open, now down to 141. I've got a play, but it's not on the full game total. I will say I'm taking Houston's team total over 70.5 points. It's out there -115 at Bet365. We always talk about this defense, but this offense has played extremely well. It's actually gone over its team total in 6 of their last 8 games. They're scoring a lot more points from three-pointers right now. They hit about 33% of their points from long range on the season. That's up to 38% for the tournament. We look at the last 3 games, 42%, and then we saw them just bombs away last night against Duke. And for all the size that Florida has up front and all of this talent that they talk about, they do get bullied on the boards, specifically the offensive boards. They give up 9.8 offensive rebounds per game. That's 317th most in the country, and that means a lot of extra possessions. It also means a lot of second chance looks, and they give up a lot of second chance points, 231st in second chance points allowed. What do the Cougars do? They hit the glass. 11.1 offensive rebounds. That's 25th most in the country. and they score the 19th most second chance points. So I think there's going to be bonus buckets there between 3-pointers and putbacks. Game models between 67 and 75 points, most of them on the other side of the 71. The Gators have allowed that many in their last 4 tournament games so far. And the look-ahead markets for this game was 143.5 before those final 4 games rolled out. I think Florida, the familiarity with Auburn, and then Auburn with Broom dinged up, and obviously not 100%. Their offense just looked lost at times last night. I think that wasn't so much on Florida as it was just Auburn getting out of sorts. So at the look-ahead line of 143.5, I think there's more points to be squeezed from this game. And me taking the Cougars over their point total is kind of jumping in line with Houston to win this game. So I like them over 70.5 points. We didn't waste any time getting into the player props this morning. We were up bright and early after a late night. Rohit was digging into it. Doug was digging into it. I was digging into it. Rohit, let's go with you because you have some really great props that I also took as well too. Let's get into the player props. What do you like here?
Yeah, I mean, feeding off what you were just talking about how well the Cougars shoot threes. So I love the over 2.5 threes for LJ Cryer, plus 110 right now. I mean, he's gone over this number in 13 of his last 19 games, averaging 3.4 threes per game over that span. Went 6 for 9 from deep against Duke. Houston is, 292nd in the country in 2-point percentage. Florida does have a good interior defense. So I'm not sure if the Cougars are going to be able to get anything going inside, but I think they're going to have a lot of success from the perimeter. The Gators really struggle to defend the arc. One of those teams, we've touched on it before, SEC had a lot of teams that didn't shoot well from the perimeter, didn't necessarily take advantage of these open looks, but they're 294th in the country in defensive open 3 rate over at shot quality bets. They give up a lot of open looks from the perimeter, so I think Cryer is going to take advantage there.
Yeah, that's one that I bet as well, too. I did the write-up from best picks and predictions for this game, and that was the one market that jumped out to me. And the player prop predictions, too, were sitting like his player projections were all on the other side of 2.5. Some of them were out there at 3.4. And then we saw what he did last night. This is the guy that can hit down 4 or 5, even 6 3-pointers in a game if they need him to. Douglas, Farmer, any player props that you want to get into?
Well, we're making that a show bet. All three of us are on it. And for me, it's not simply that he's been this consistent, and it's not simply that he's a veteran. It's not simply that Florida gives up those threes. It's that he takes these chances in big games. In Houston's last 9 moments of actual competition since February 15th, he's cleared this prop in 5 of them. He has shot 44.9% in those 9 games and 7.7 attempts from deep in them. That is a willingness and a success rate. Sure, only 5 out of 9 might not be that encouraging, but at plus money, and when he's shooting nearly 45% in these big games, I am always happy to jump onto that. Furthermore, the Alamo Dome, and J-Lo, this goes in hand in with your team total over. The Alamo Dome is more tolerable for shooters than many title sites. That will help the shooting continue in this game, whereas we've seen some title games in the past become absolute miserable slogs.
Yeah, you get in like those NRG stadiums, and it's just this cavernous, massive place. Your crowd is 200 yards that way. It's much different than playing in some of these smaller barns that they're used to, that's for sure. Doug, any other player props that you like in this one?
My only other player prop goes into what you were talking about with Florida. Florida's a quality rebounding team, statistically does very well, but really those rebounds tend to come from Alex Condon, who's beat up, and I'm forgetting Thomas Haw, who is commonly in foul trouble. If you're willing to look over those two, then Florida starts to struggle on the glass. I'm taking Juwan Roberts over 6.5 rebounds, available at neg 115 at Bet365. I always keep talking about these Houston games that mattered, the games where they were not bored, spreads within 3 buckets. In the last 6 of those games that he played, because he missed a few, he's cleared it in 5 of them. He is always crashing the glass, but even more so when it matters. 8.5 rebounds in those 6 games, including 12 in really great and underappreciated work against Duke. He snagged only 2 against Tennessee. That was the exception here. Foul trouble in the first half limited him to 16 total minutes. The Volunteers draw a lot of fouls. Florida doesn't. And again, Florida's fouls come from the ones they draw are Condon and Haw. Well, Condon looks limited. I'm not expecting him to be as aggressive. Perhaps doesn't get somebody like Juwan Roberts into foul trouble. Juwan Roberts should grab plenty of rebounds, certainly clearing over 6.5.
All right, I will stop the Houston Love Fest because that's what it's been so far. And I
No,
will
no,
take
no.
a Florida player prop here. I'm going with Elijah Martin, but I'm going over 1.5 assists. It's minus 125, a little juicy. There's a guy, he's had 0 assists the last 2 games, but if we look back, he averages 2 assists on the season, and before these 2 games without an assist, he dished out 2 or more in the first 3 NCAA games, then recorded 2 or more dimes in 7 of his last 9 games before those 2 goose eggs in the assist department. But Martin, as we've seen, is a dribble drive threat. He wants to get to the hoop. He wants to attack, and it's going to be very, very tough to do against this UH defense that is so good on rotation. They're so good on help. They're so good at just clamping down inside. And we did see some of this against UConn, where Martin attacked UConn. That great interior defense came in, plugged him up, and he was able to kick out, or he was able to find big guys cutting down for little drop downs into the to the rim. So he had 3 assists in that UConn game. Game projections were all on the other side of 1.5. Some 2.4ish. So I think Martin, while I am hesitant to jump on his point prop because of the way that he scores his buckets, I do see him getting and drawing the defense and then distributing and Florida being able to score some open looks off of that. So I like his over 1.5. Rohit Pannaiya.
Well, we took a little break.
I know you got another player prop.
Yeah, I was going to say, I've got another one. We took a little break from the Houston Love, back on board with the Houston Love. Kind of on the same narrative that Douglas is with the Roberts rebound prop. I like the rebounds prop for Joseph Tugler. Over-unders 5.5, but I like the 7+ rebounds. You're getting that at plus 135. He's hit 8 rebounds in 3 of his last 4 games. Common theme, the one game where he went below that number was against Purdue, where he got into foul trouble early, played only 15 minutes. Like Douglas said, I mean, UF doesn't attack the rim that well. They rotate 4 big, so I expect to see Tugler on the floor for at least 25 minutes here. Gators also play at a fast tempo, leads to more possessions. And like you already pointed out, Gators also struggle on the defensive glass. 188th in the country in defensive rebounding rate over the last 12 games. Tugler is a monster on the offensive glass. He's got that great wingspan, incredibly physical. He has 15 total offensive rebounds against the Duke, Tennessee, and the Zags and the tourney. And, I think he's probably going to get 4 or 5 offensive boards in this game. And I definitely think he's going to get at least 3 defensive boards. And getting that at plus money is great value.
Yeah, we mentioned Florida having a soft spot on the defensive glass, and you can be able to get after a couple bonus rebounds. There is another one. It's a Florida prop, but not necessarily a pro Florida prop. I went over on Condon's points in last night's game, and that came and bit me in the butt. When he touched the basketball, he wanted to get rid of it, and then when he did take shots, he was having a hard time finding the hoop. So what's this other prop that you like here?
Yeah, I'm taking the under on his points, 8.5 points right now. He's gone below this number in 4 straight games. You mentioned last night against Auburn, terrible performance. 1 point, 0 for 5 from the field in 23 minutes. Definitely didn't seem confident. Straight up admitted that pretty much. He's not playing with much confidence now. Going up against a Houston team that defends so well on the interior, doesn't let a lot of passes even get inside. And then on top of that, you got guys like Tugler, like Roberts, like Francis, with those crazy wingspans that do a great job of shutting down centers and big men inside. It's going to be really, really tough for him. You mentioned, that ankle is still, I think, bothering him. He's been playing through it, but in practice, he's been doing a lot of stationary work, a lot of stuff that suggests that he's not 100% there. He says he's at 80 to 90%. I think he might even be a little bit less than that. And of course, we're talking about a Cougars team that is the #1 defense in the country, 5th slowest pace. So everything's saying under points on Condon here.
Yeah.
Of all defenses to be limited against, this is very much the wrong one. They give you nothing easy, and it's if you're hesitant at all. I mean, J-Lo, you said he didn't want the ball in the Final Four.
The second he had it, he just was looking to dish off and dish off and dish off.
They will exploit that. If he shows that at all in the opening few minutes, Houston is going to feast on that problem. That really, we are all clearly lining up on 5 Slamma Jamma.
Yeah, as does the boosted SGP at Bet365. Good little segue there, which includes some of these player props. So we took the Cryer 3-point prop. So Cryer plus 3+ 3-pointers. The Tugler rebound prop. It was the total's 5.5 minus 140 over. However, a lot of projections on the other side of 7. Rohit, you like the 7+. So let's throw that in there. And then Milos Uzan, who's been fantastic distributing the basketball, 3+ assists from him. When you tie that all together, it's plus 525. Bet365 is going to boost that to plus 600 for Monday's national title game. So it is LJ Cryer, 3+ 3-pointers, Uzan, 3+ assists, and Tugler, 7+ rebounds, plus 525 boosted to plus 600. You can find that there. It's got the little covers logo. Go look for that. Everyone's going to be on that one. A little squad ride as well, too. Rohit, I know you wanted to touch on the most outstanding player odds, which are basically a 2-horse race at this point. And we've got Walter Clayton is the favorite. Obviously, he's been fantastic in the tournament. He's playing on the favorite to win this game. He's minus 105. LJ Cryer plus 150. And then everyone else is like plus 1,100 or bigger. Let's talk about this. Rohit, there's a strategy behind if you like Houston, then so what?
Yeah, I mean, that's the main idea is you kind of want to see if you get a little bit of value when comparing, a team to win the title and the guy that's expected to be the top dog, the number one guy that's expected to win. Because, I mean, you have to go back more than 40 years before a player not on the title winning team ended up winning this award. That was Akeem Olajuwon back in '83, of course, for Houston. But, I mean, you have to look at the value you get here. And right now, Walter Clayton is minus 105 to win the most outstanding player award. Florida's minus 115 on the money line. At that value, you might as well just back the Gators to win the title. Value's kind of gone from him there. At the same time, I mean, unless he has an amazing game, they're not winning the title. They needed a fantastic game from him against Texas Tech and Auburn to have those comeback wins. They're not beating Houston unless he has a good game as well. But like I said, no real value there. Maybe a little bit of value with Cryer because he's plus 150. He looks most likely that he's going to win the award unless he has a really bad game. Someone else really steps up. But at the same time, there are multiple guys on Houston that can contribute. And there are times that we've seen he, maybe hasn't had the biggest impact, like in the Big 12 title game or in that game against Purdue. And there's certainly a bunch of other guys with the Cougars that could step up and take the award if he doesn't have a massive game.
Doug?
We were debating this a little pre-show, and one thought I just had while listening to Roe, if I was going to touch anybody on this market, and I'm not, I'm invested enough on Houston. We all know this. Juwan Roberts at 16-1. Let's say he hits the game-winning points again. He had a double-double in the Final Four. He follows that up, and with game-winning buckets in both games, you could certainly create that narrative. It's 16-1. I could hear that argument, but otherwise, it's got to be Cryer or bust, right?
I mean, for me, I look at Clayton and say, they need him, like Rohit said, they need him to score a lot of points. And if he can put up 25 points or 30 points on Houston, that's pretty impressive. And even if he put up 25 or 30 points on Houston and they lose, that's still pretty impressive. It's been a long time, like you said, the dream for Houston, funny enough, so many moons ago, and only 10 players have done that, been on the losing team, but still won most outstanding player. I don't think it's out of the realm of possibilities that Houston wins this game, but Clayton still wins most improved player because Houston could win this game with a bunch of guys scoring 8 and 10 points per game.
Yes, it could. It could. You are spreading quite a needle at neg 105. I would much rather hear that argument.
Yes,
3-1 or 4-1.
Yeah. Yeah, but there's a realm of possibilities where Clayton still wins this award and Florida doesn't win. I'm not playing these markets as well.
Same, yeah. The value's gone.
Yeah, it's something where you want, if you have a lead on a team, you want Elite 8, Sweet 16. That's kind of the last glance at these, trying to suck some value out of it. And all my futures died last night, so I'm just hoping to get out of this.
I tried to tell you. I tried for weeks, for months.
All right. Well, I believe that is it, gentlemen. Have we emptied the entire clip here on the championship game?
Hey, you all enjoy watching it. I will not be.
No, he's going to be. What are you going to sweat this one out?
I will not be sweating this one out. I have 2 tickets in the pit at Jack White in a small venue, and I figure that's a good way for me to not worry about this game. I have nothing to learn from it anyway. There's no game tomorrow or next week.
Yep. Yeah, it should be a good one. Well, guys, I want to thank you personally. It's been a lot of fun doing this with you during the tournament and going back and forth. I know it's started in conference play. A big thank to Mick and Chris also behind the scenes, recording this, editing this, putting it out. Big thanks to Bet365 for jumping in here and sponsoring the show. And a big thanks for everyone that's followed along so far. Hopefully we won you some money and entertained you along the way. And hopefully we're not done that just yet. So it could be a good Monday. Reminder too, check out the SGP, the boosted SGP on Bet365, and jump into our Beat the Experts contest, where Douglas looked real good in the Elite Eight. He actually won the contest, but you can't win the contest because you might have to put your cover shirt back on now. But you're playing against Ro and myself and Douglas, and yeah, $1,000 for top prize, and then there's a couple Amazon gift cards up for grabs too if you finish second or third. So yeah, jump in there. It's all free to play. You can find that over on the Covers Contest side of the site. All right, well that is it, guys. We appreciate all the love during the tournament. Good luck with your bets and enjoy the national championship game.